Welcome, everyone, to the 14th episode of the Four Roads Out of Warba podcast. Episode, did I say it? Episode 14?
You already said it. Whatever, that's cool.
Okay. Memory problems. I am Bort, and we are the Warbashop Quartet. And I would like to introduce you to each of our hosting members. Representing the wonderful, great tag team, the Heart Foundation, is myself, Bort. Representing the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, is Doodoo. How's it going this week?
Wonderful, thank you. Busy.
Busy, eh?
And good, because somebody I know is coming up to see me this weekend.
Ah, very cool. Very cool. Who's that?
Somebody that I really like to play D&D with Doodoo, but I can't remember who it was.
Yeah.
Hippie's going up there?
They're pretty forgettable.
Yeah. No, Bort, you're coming up. Can't wait to see you.
Cool. Representing the wonderful tag team of Demolition is Tippy Tater Alligator. How's it going this week?
Excellent. Have a long weekend vacation here, and I'm just starting out, and what a better way to start out than being here with you guys. So.
And representing the Rockers, it's Bob.
Hi. I not a big fan of Marty Jannetty anymore. He's kind of gone crazy, but I'll take the Shawn Michaels aspect. That's good. Didn't Marty J just admit to killing somebody on Twitter?
Oh yeah. He was
I guess
also
I shouldn't laugh about that, but
he was also asked about posted on Facebook. This girl had said that she might have been his daughter, but he didn't have a blood test, but she was also interested in relations, and so he was asking people on Facebook if he should do it.
Well, I think you sent us that thread or whatever, if it was a tweet or something. Yeah. That was a big WTF.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be a no.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. Well, sorry for. Did you want to be the new Rockers instead?
Oh no, leave Cassie, God no.
Nobody wants to be Al Snow.
Yeah, I'll be Al Snow, but not leave Cassidy.
Okay.
Al Snow had the head at least, so he had the foam head. So.
Yep. So today's episode, we're taking a 1-week break from the D&D with Doodoo that we've been doing, and we're going to talk about the namesake of our podcast, Warba, Minnesota. Just kind of freeform this week, and we're going to talk about Warba, some stories from Warba, some interesting facts from Warba. It's going to be everything you've ever wanted to know about the town that you've never heard of, and will probably never go to.
I feel pretty special being involved in this now, because I pretty much guarantee this is going to be the longest podcast about Warba on the internet that's ever existed. So I feel pretty special about that.
I'm pretty sure that this is going to be the only podcast about Warba on the internet. Maybe.
Like I said, you look up Warba on YouTube, we dominate.
Hey, did you know, fun fact, Warba's in Minnesota? Did you know that?
I did.
Did you know it's on Highway 2, probably the most traveled east-west highway in Minnesota?
Oh, very good point.
Or
I
northern
will-
Minnesota, anyways.
I will start us with a fact. Do you know what Highway 2 going through Warba is called? It has an actual street name.
Main Street.
No.
Warba Street.
What was that, Bob?
Warba Street.
No, not Warba Street.
It's like Elm Street or something, isn't it?
Nope.
No? Tippy?
I have no idea. I know there's an old Highway 2. Did the old Highway 2 go around the town?
Nope.
So, okay.
Nope. It is called Bridge Street.
Bridge Street. There we go.
Yep. I did not know that until just a little bit ago.
It makes sense because there's a bridge.
Yep.
And there's a street.
Mm-hmm. The bridge goes over what river?
Swan River.
Swan River is correct, which makes Warba more of Swan River than Swan River. Swan River is nowhere near Swan River.
Mhm.
No.
So anybody got a good guess on what the population of Warba is?
168.
Nice work, Bob.
If you see that sign for however many years, you're going to remember it.
Well, that's from the 2020 census, so that's a pretty new one. Okay. How big is Warba in square miles?
I'm going to say 3.5.
Okay, Andrew? Or Duty?
5.5.
5.6.
Bob, you must have Wikipedia pulled up.
I
3.2
can't-
miles.
How many?
3.28.
He's
Well,
cheating.
I can barely get my phone to do the reception on here. You think I'm getting Wikipedia pulled up too?
Yeah. Don't you dare touch your phone right now.
Okay, here's a good one. What's the word for it? The population,
Per capita.
not per capita, of what percent is white, black, Latino, stuff like that? What's that called?
Demographics.
Demographics, yes. Okay, for your demographics, what percent of Warba is white?
99.99999.
No. No, it's like 93 or 94.
Say 95.6.
It is 98.36% white. The remaining 1.64% is Latino. So doing the math, that would mean there are 3 Latinos in Warba. Rest white.
Funny.
Wow.
What would be the median age in Warba?
87.
Not anymore.
No, I would
I'll
say
give-
probably. I'm going to go 36.
Oh, I was going to say 34.
I'm going to say 55.
It's 37.2.
Oh
Bob, you got to be cheating.
no! I'm
There's
this
just
smart.
no way you're this smart.
Oh, I'm, I'm totally smart.
Okay. Now, what percent of Warba is men and what percent is women? Bear in mind we're in the 2020s. It doesn't have to add up to 100%, but it does.
I'm going to say 55 women, 45 men.
I'm going to go the other way. 55 men, 45 women. And Bob thought that was funny.
Yep.
I'm going to go 62% men, 38% women.
Well, the correct answer is 49.2% men, 50.8% women. Doing the math, that means out of the 168 people, there are 85 women and 83 men. So if there's any single men around 37.2, if you go to Warba, you've got your shot at a couple of free ladies there.
Do you think them ladies there that they'd like the 50-year-old hairy ex-truck drivers?
Am I frozen out again? Am I frozen out again?
Yes, you are. Yes,
Do you think
you
you really said that twice? I don't know if they would be interested in any 50-year-old truck drivers.
Thank you.
So my next or final question, Tippy and I talked about this earlier, but Warba has a bit of a poverty problem. What percent of people in Warba are living in poverty?
I'd say like 83.
83%? No, it's not nearly that bad.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's
Not living in poverty, but below the poverty line.
yeah.
Okay.
It's 14.3% of families and 19.6% of the population was below the poverty line. Now here's the best part. 26.2% of those under the age of 18 are, and 0% of those 65 and older.
As it should be. Take care of the old people.
Yeah. So that concludes all the wonderful facts I have about Warba. Trying to decide if we should continue with the podcast or if we should wait for Bob to come back.
So for that, the population question, that's where I cut out, or the male female one. That's where I cut out there. So,
welcome back, podcast listeners. Bob appeared to miss out on some stuff, so we're going to go a recap of the stuff you just heard 2 seconds ago. Bob, it's 49.2% male.
oh, see, I said 62 and 38 before I got cut out.
I heard that part. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the math works out to 85 women, 83 men in Warba. You're a single man around 37 years old, that's the place to go. You have your pick of the 3 women.
Oh boy.
Excuse me, I got to go to Warba.
Oh, good to know in case my wife gets too annoyed by me. So, I have a place to go. Yeah.
Okay, so that was all I had for the facts, and then we're going to go on and just you can tell some stories of some things that you know about Warba, just sort of free flow. If things kind of die down, I'll just sort of start mentioning some of the landmarks and other things around Warba, and it might trigger some memories of the place. And I mean, I gotta bring up one to begin with here. Have any of you guys heard of this place? And I'm dead serious. This is a location in Warba. It is a business entitled Adolph's Engineer Labs.
I recognize the name Adolph's.
Okay. I don't know what it is.
Where is that at?
Right prior to the cemetery on the dirt road to the right there when you turn off Highway 2.
Isn't that where...
That house?
Apparently.
Because isn't that the house that
That's
Grandma and Grandpa's mom lived at, or Grandma's mom or somebody lived at?
No, Grandpa's mom and Dad lived there. It'd be your guys' dad and my mom's grandparents that lived there for years and years and years. And then, yeah, but she probably died and sold it to these people that Bort's talking about.
So the old Adolf.
I just gotta kick out of that name.
Is there like a web page? Does it say what they do?
No, there was no web page.
Warba doesn't believe in the internet yet, much like me.
I was not able to find. I don't think there is a Warba official website.
I think they have one of those like neighborhood link websites or something. They don't have like a warba.com.
Yep, no official website for Warba.
Yeah,
We should start one.
Wonder what would get more views, our podcast or the Warba website?
Well,
There you go.
aren't we related to the mayor?
Well, I'm not sure who the mayor is nowadays.
But it was always, our mom's cousin, right?
Kelly McCauley.
Yeah,
Billy McCall.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was the mayor for a long time.
The loudest singer during Memorial Day service.
A country
You always knew when Kelly McCauley was singing.
Yeah.
Cut right to the mix.
Yep.
Yeah, he was the mayor of Warba for many years. Had a beautiful, I believe it was a Corvette, right?
Yep.
With a mayor personalized license plate.
I remember when he built that house, that big house in Warba too, like where he had it now. I remember they built that, and that was a big deal.
He worked with our grandpa.
Oh, did he with in the county?
Oh yeah, he was foreman for a long time after grandpa retired. And
Oh, okay.
Pat Mullen retired, and then it was Kelly.
Okay.
But
I have. You do? Oh.
I got a Warba World War II story.
Ooh, I love
Yeah.
World War II, and I love Warba.
All right. Well, in the beginning of the podcast, there's two guys that show up in the opening scenes. The first one is a vet gentleman by the name of Dick, and that is Bort's, Bob's, and Tippy's grandfather. And the second gentleman that shows up, his name is Andrew, and he is mine, Bort, and Bob's grandfather. So World War II came around, and our grandfather got drafted. And the first thing that he did, he was down in Camp Campbell, Kentucky for a while, and then they went down to the name is I can't think of it now, but it's in Abilene, Texas, and then from there they went over to France and started kicking butt from there. But anyways, one of the first things that Grandpa did was befriend the guy that filled out the furloughs for the company, and he got to know him pretty good. So when it came down to it, the guys from Minnesota got a week off, and the guys from North Dakota got 2 weeks off. So Grandpa talked this guy he befriended in to fill it out, Andrew Felix, Warba, North Dakota. So Grandpa got 2 weeks off.
Nice. That sounds like something Grandpa would do.
Very clever.
This
That's
guy
one
right
thing.
there.
Yep. See, that's one thing that I always got a lot of war stuff from my grandpa with Andrew, Grandpa, whatever you want to say his last name. But then me, Bort, and Tippy's grandpa, I never got many war stories on that end.
Yeah.
Did either of you guys?
No. Mom said he didn't like to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I know
Yep.
one.
That usually means that he saw some stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you think? I mean, I know one that he told to my dad, or our dad, Bob.
Okay.
And basically what he told Dad, he basically came home with a German officer's gun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'd seen that. Yeah,
Oh,
it
you
was
saw that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You know, so if you come home with a German officer's gun, you're
Mm-hmm.
right up.
Not to get all whatever, but our grandfather, he came home with a what the old German guns.
The Lugers?
Lugers, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had one. Mom can remember playing with it when she was little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, different world.
Mhm.
I do have Grandpa's military belt.
Oh, do you?
Or at least one of them. I mean, I'm probably sure he went through several, but yeah, I got that when I was in high school, and I always used that as my belt in high school. And eventually, like the clip stopped working, and then it got all frayed out. But I got it, like pinned up in the wall of my room back home.
I remember you always wore that thing around.
You know that green one? Yeah.
Yep, I remember you always
With the
always
slot.
wore that thing.
Yep.
And you were so skinny that it was so much extra on there too. I remember you tighten it down, be flopping around extra.
Well, if I put a buckle on it now, it wouldn't fit. Probably.
Yeah. And then I got our other grandpa's. I have his 12th Armor Division belt too, with his belt clip and all that stuff too. I got that displayed at my house now in Hastings. So, which will soon be around here somewhere. So.
I'm gonna say, are you selling it with the house? Or?
Well, so getting to the Warba stories, I have two that kind of stick in my mind. One from me, Bort and Doodoo's grandfather, and then one from the other side with Tippy's. So, if you don't mind, can I throw those ones out there?
Yep.
All right. Well, the first one, I don't know how old I was, but me and Bort's father had bought this old 1992, or was it older than that? That brown Chevy Suburban.
No, it was like a 92 or 93.
Well, no,
Yes.
that was in 1984.
Oh, he got the 92 later. That black.
Yeah, he bought it in 92, I think.
Okay. So, anyways,
That one was that old? Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. He bought that from a buddy of mine in Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah?
okay.
Oh, no.
So, what?
Oh, there
Are
you
you
are.
there?
Yeah, you're there.
Oh, okay. So there was always a deal with me and Doodoo. Am I not here anymore?
No, you're here. You're fine. Keep talking.
Well, I just got bored over there giving a disappointed look. So if I'm on here, he's got to stop that, or else I'm thinking I'm not recording. So. But anyway, there was always a deal. Me and Doodoo were Ford guys. We were always Ford. And then our dad and Bort were Chevy guys. So Doodoo had what kind of pickup was it?
It was a 3/4 ton Ford.
Yep. And so they were having a debate. Okay, so they were having a debate on which one was more powerful. So in the front yard of our grandparents' house, they backed it up to each other, wrapped a rope around each side, and just tried to have a pull off. And all it did was the wheels kept spinning, and it went down about 3 or 4 inches into the frost on the ice on the driveway, and that's all they got. So I always remember that pull off, though. That was that was a unique little fun thing back in the day. And then over at our other grandparents' house, this was probably when I was 13 or something. I was really big and I was really good at backyard wrestling. So we decided, me, Bort, and Tippy decided to have a backyard wrestling match, but it was in the front yard of their house. And it was what it was. It was really good. But I remember
This is one of the stories I was going to bring up, and I still have the footage from it, and I watched it recently.
Dude! Dude! So, the thing I remember most from it was, I'm
Me
sure
and
you
Bort
know.
were 17, you were 15. This was Easter 2000.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'd
what?
like to see that.
I know, I would too. What do you remember the move that finished it that I remember all the time?
Well, it wasn't the very end, but let's just kind of like set up the scenario, like what we had there. We had like a 5 foot wooden decrepit step ladder. There was a vacuum cleaner hose, a badminton racket, like a folding steel chair. I mean, but it was like kind of one of those that's just slid together. And it wasn't an aluminum steel chair. It was an actual steel chair. There was a tire. There was a lot of these planks of like wall paneling, which we'd hit each other over the head with. You know, just about as floppy as construction paper. You know.
Yep.
That's kind of we'd sprinkle in some wrestling moves in there, you know, and like a thing we repeated a lot during that match was we'd put one of those pieces of paneling on top of the tire and either pile driver power bomb each other on top of that. And well, like the one move that just wasn't expected just come up on the spot. I mean, we were using that tire all throughout the match. I'm on the ground. You put the tire like on my midsection here, and you're going to hit me with the steel chair. But then I kind of just go, I throw the tire up and kick it with my feet while you have the chair up. And it goes into your elbow.
Well, I remember.
And it drew blood.
Well, because I had just had a match earlier, I think it might have been that big match me and my buddy were planning on having. Me and my buddy Mike did a bunch of matches. We had like people over and everything. So I remember I think I had a big scab on my arm from that, and that tire ripped it off.
Because like at the very end of the video, I think at that point either because my little brother was recording most of it. And or he might have recorded the entire thing, and then you go up to our cousin Carrie and it's like, "Hey, check out my elbow here," and it's just like all around, like it's at least 3 inches long by about an inch wide. It looked really gnarly.
Dude, I so want to see that now.
Oh, it's something else. It is something else. Yeah. There was one point in that match where you hit me over the head with a badminton racket, and
I remember that.
You clocked me good. I was so mad that I ran after you. I threw you to the ground. You could hear you go, "Oh, man!"
Well, I remember right after I hit you, because I remember I hit you with the end part, not the middle part. Right
yeah, exactly.
Oh!
He said, "Come here, boy." Boom.
But yeah, I'll remember that for the kangaroo tire kick.
Yeah.
Oh. So yeah, those are my couple things, my good memory. I have a lot more, but those ones is two at the top of my head.
We'll have to do an episode sometime of all the backyard wrestling exploits of your life.
Well, when you put them all together, it's about 3 cool moments. The rest of them are just like, "Whoa, what are they doing?"
A lot of good stories, though.
Oh,
I can remember 3 off the top of my head. One where you went through a top level door through a pile of boxes. One where you got power bombed on a table on fire and you eventually caught on fire. And then trying to do a moonsault off the fence and you hit your head on the fence.
Yep.
I remember that one.
Oh, I remember that one. That did not feel good. I do it and all of a sudden you hear a, "Oh!" Yeah. No, that was my middle school time. That was my big thing we did. And then when I graduated, we had one actual match. Me and my buddy were the headliners at the Cottage Grove Armory. And it was during my grad party. Like, we had a grad party during the day and had the match at night. So at about 5:30, I had to say, "All right, Mom, thanks for the grad party. I need all these tables. I'm bringing them to the match to break them." Because I bought all the tables for that match.
Well,
and that's on video somewhere, too.
The end of that match, you were originally planning to do a Van Terminator, and you didn't think you could hit it. So what you ended up doing is you put a garbage can over your friend's head, spun him around, and then climbed to the top rope and hit a drop kick that sent him flying across the ring, and the rope stopped him.
Yep.
It was awesome. I mean, I've seen wrestlers do that exact same spot, and I've never seen one as good as the one that you hit on him. That was amazing.
Well, he didn't know it was coming. That's what made it so good. Because at the end, I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Here, hold this. And I just put the garbage can over his head and started spinning him. He had no idea what was going on. And then I was like, pow! But I remember listening to that match the whole time. I'd hear Bort in the back when I'd do a 1 or a 2 count. He'd go, 2! Or 1 during the whole show. And it'd echo because it was in a gymnasium. So. But yeah, those are for another day. Anybody else got any good Warba stories?
Oh, I got a good one that actually involves all 4 of us. It's a very short story, but we're hanging out at your guys' grandma and grandpa's house, and we're just sitting at the table. I can't remember what game we were playing. If we're playing cribbage, we're playing some sort of card game or dice game. This must have been like the early to mid 90s, like the me, Bort, and Bob were either very young teens or preteens or whatever, and this commercial comes on TV for this like onion cutter. So you could cut the onion and it makes a blooming onion, then you batter it and you fry it, and then like on the commercial, there's even a spot in the middle where you can put your favorite dip, and then Duda goes, "Hey, we can put Tippy in the middle. He's kind of a dip."
I said that, really?
Yeah, it took me a minute to get it. That he had to kind of explain to me, draw it out with color crayons. But then after that, it was pretty funny.
Well, he'd probably have to do that now still. So, yeah. I think we were playing. Was it In Between? Didn't we do that a lot?
I don't remember. I mean, that was 20 years, 30 years, 20 years ago. And when you get my age, yeah.
It could have. It must have been some kind of card game. It probably wasn't cribbage because all of us were playing. But
I mean, I remember dealing 21 for you guys. You know, could have been something like that, or stud poker or something.
Teach us poker when we were 9 years old. All right, this is how you want to win. Go to Vegas, win the big tables.
He also taught us how to drive when we were that old.
Go back to the old episodes and watch those stories.
Okay. I got a couple good ones here, I think.
Okay.
Let me just say first, when I think of Warba, Minnesota, all I see in my head is just one word, and that's family. And whether it's like, I mean, like Tippy's side and our side, we all knew each other, we all hung out. It's just family. So all my stories have to do with family, and I don't have any cool facts about the water tower or the church. Oh wait, I do have a cool story about the church. The Lutheran Church in Warba. When you go in there, just before you go into where all the pews are, there's a sign up there, and it's the signature on it is Bort and Bob's grandfather and I. It's his grandpa's signature from when he gave the land to the church to build the church. So I guess I did have a fact.
Oh,
but yeah. But getting back to my family thing, I remember little things in my head, like, Bort when he was a little boy, 2 or 3, maybe a little. He used to walk around the grandpa's yard with a can of cheese balls, and if anybody talked to him, he would call them ducks. Duck, duck, duck. And earlier than that, when he was a baby, Bob wasn't even around yet. I don't know where your folks went, but I was up for the summer as grandpa, and Jason was just a little baby, and he would cry. Good gosh. I mean, if he wasn't happy, you'd know it. He would just scream. And Grandma, I remember, Grandpa was sitting in his chair, Grandma was sitting in her chair, and she was rocking you, Bort, trying to get you to be quiet and fall asleep. And It just so happened that that weekend, our other cousin, who's a doctor down in Illinois, he had just got a brand new Cabbage Patch doll, and he wanted me to take care of it because they were going somewhere for the weekend. So, I didn't know. I'd seen Grandma holding Bort, the way she was, and, just like over the shoulder, just rocking, trying to give him sleep. So I was just holding this doll up and stuff, and I dropped it, and the head of it landed on the floor, and it bam, and Bort woke up, started screaming, and Grandpa looked at me like he looked at them Germans of World War II. He was gonna kill me, but yeah. So Bort got me in trouble there again, and then I think this has always already been mentioned, but another flashback memory. Used to watch every year Christmas Story. One year, Bob and I got dressed up in our grandma's nightgowns and sat and watched it and made everybody.
Did you say you came across that picture, or your mom or something?
Somebody, I think Mom did. Yeah, we'll have to get it. But the only other one I got here is when Warba turned 100 years old. They had a big shindig, and I might have partaked in too much of the alcoholic beverages, and I thought it would be fun to ride on Grandma's walker backwards. And you remember this there, Bob?
Oh, yeah.
And so I was sitting in there, sitting on it, facing, backwards, and our aunt was pushing me, and she either pushed me or she said she lost hold of it, but I think she pushed me. Anyways, the back tires hit the sidewalk, and there was a lip there, and I hit it, flipped over the walker, my head hit them. But I popped up because I wasn't feeling no pain at that time. But
you're really good at riding tricycles too.
Yeah, I can do that too, believe it or not. But yeah, that's just a lot of good times. You had talked about hitting Tippy over the head. Our other cousin, the doctor, I hit him over the head with a croquet mallet, and I don't know what you did, Tippy, but our other cousin, he went in crying to our grandma, and I got the wrath of Jesus on that one. But
why did you hit him over the head with it?
I have no idea. No clue. We were just playing sorry, I'm tired. What's the name of it?
Okay.
Croquet. I just bonk, hit him. But yeah, just good family stuff, good family memories.
That's the thing about Warba is there's so much stuff that we've done there. And it's such a small place that nobody knows of, but it's such a big part of all of our lives. It's just crazy.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Myself, I did not grow up there. I mean,
but
right. I mean, but at least once a month or several times, per year, I was there and spent a significant amount of time there, and it was always with, obviously, family, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandma, grandpa, and you tend to remember a lot of that stuff more than, your more mundane life, back where you spend every day, really, because those are moments that really stand out. And one of the other moments that do stand out to me is when Bort and I were 16. I mean, we are nearly the same age. We're born 8 days apart. So we got our driver's licenses around the same time. And I remember Bort's first car, that Spectrum, and it was a manual. And I I didn't have a manual myself. I had an automatic, and we were at the Warba Presbyterian Church, kind of parked right up on the side of there. I think it was on the north edge of the church. And he was going to teach me how to drive it. And first thing we would need to do is reverse. Well, I didn't put it in reverse. I put it in first. He almost ran right, or I almost ran right into the church. And
Oh,
I'm like,
how
no,
many Hail Marys
it's a
would you have
bad
to
idea.
say for that?
Do you remember that, Bort?
I have no memory of that.
Really? Okay.
No.
That's how traumatized he was.
I do remember that church. Dude, did you ever go to that church at all? Do anything in that church?
Which one was that?
Warba Presbyterian. It's right. You take it right by the tire store and go all the way to the end there.
Oh, yeah. I've been in it. I mean, that's about it.
Yeah, because we did a lot of stuff back in the day with our me, Tippy, and Bort's grandparents. They were really heavy in that church.
Yeah, Grandpa helped build that church, and Grandma, she always taught Sunday school there. I can honestly remember every square inch of that church.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I saw it was up for sale a few years ago, and I'm like, oh, how cool would that be to buy that? Then I'm like, nah, both my grandparents had their funeral there. I don't know if I'd want to live there.
It was really sad. I mean, it was only for like $20,000.
Wow.
Pretty
Well,
shocked.
I remember when our grandma passed away. That was in 2014.
Boy, you're just steamrolling stories today.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last
2014,
time
Bob.
I was there too. Yeah,
And I remember we were in the basement trying to make coffee.
Yep.
And the coffee we made, it was terrible. I'm like, this has probably been sitting here 30 years.
Yeah,
And then you left the coffee pot on.
It wasn't like that box of cornflakes that was in her cupboard.
Oh. I'm sorry, I doo-doo.
I was just going to make a little comment here that if the three of you would have bought the church, Presbyterian Church, you couldn't have done any worse of a job than what happened to the Catholic Church there in town.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a farm now, and it's just ugly.
Is the church still standing?
Oh yeah, they turned it into a house, and I'm sure if they watch this, they're gonna hate me. But I mean, they got animals on both sides of the driveway, and it's just horrible. There, I'm off my soapbox.
Because last time we were in that Presbyterian church, it still looked, just like it always had. It looked like it was still in good shape.
But didn't they just open it? It was closed, though, I think. And didn't they open it just for Grandma's funeral?
I believe it was shut down or very rarely used, and her funeral was one of the last events there.
Okay, so who knows what happened in the last 8 years? I mean, you need to live in a place to actually, for the house to continue to have life itself.
The coffee pot's still probably on.
You
left it on. I remember that.
Whoops.
I don't remember the coffee being terrible. I mean, we still have didn't we still have those, those triangle plastic cups with that go in the,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or those cone-shaped cups, I guess,
Yep.
No,
Yeah.
we did all our stuff in the Lutheran church.
Okay.
Yeah, that one.
I mean,
Oh,
is it appropriate to tell stories from funerals?
I don't see why not.
Okay. Well, I got two stories from Grandma's funeral at the Presbyterian Church. First one's actually humorous, which, funny and funerals don't normally go together, but Bob and I were standing in front of Grandma's coffin with our cousin Carrie, and we were talking, and basically what happened, Grandma died in early March, and they didn't want to do the funeral right away because our cousin and uncle, which was Grandma's son, were in Alaska for the Iditarod. And so they delayed the funeral by I think it was 2 weeks after she died, maybe even more. And they somehow,
that long.
It was a while.
I know it was a while, but
If she died the 8th night, okay, 11 days it would have been.
okay, yeah.
But
I knew it was less than 2
Yeah.
weeks.
But, that's a pretty long time to keep a body out of the ground. And so they literally kept Grandma in a freezer at the funeral home for that time. And anyways, Bob and I were standing there talking with our cousin Carrie, and she said something about Grandma, some really sentimental thing. And then she went to, put her hand on her hand. And then she touched her hand and jumped in fright because her body was like ice cold. And she's like, I don't know why I didn't expect that.
They did a pretty, for being that long, did a pretty decent job.
They did a good job, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And anyways, the other thing I want to talk about that funeral is I want to kind of try to right a wrong that happened. And I know I can never right the wrong that happened, but I'm going to try. When Grandma died, I wrote a poem when she died.
Sorry.
Very timing.
Sorry.
I wrote a poem when she died, and Mom said, I want you to do this poem at the funeral. And I said, okay, I would be honored. And then I wrote a second poem as well. And the first one was very, very serious. The second one was way more uplifting, but nowhere near as good. And anyways, the second one, or the first one, my ex-wife convinced me not to do because she thought it painted my grandma in a bad light because it was focusing on the end of her life rather than the good of her life. So despite my mom asking me to do the first poem, I ended up doing the second poem at the funeral. And it's always bothered me that I did the wrong poem. So I was wondering if I could actually read that poem right here on the podcast, since it did occur in Warba.
Absolutely.
Okay. This is called The Man I Am Today, an ode to my grandma. Just get everything pulled up here. I walked into the room and saw you laying there, so pale, frail, and weak. As I saw you for this last time, fighting the tears rolling down my cheek. You were always there for me. You always kept me in your prayers. You never once gave up hope that I'd find faith in the good man upstairs. I do not drink. I do not swear. I pray for my family because Jesus is my Savior. And the reason that all this is true is because of your own behavior. I watched others talk to you, looking cool, calm, and collected. I tried to hide my tears from them so they'd never be detected. Today I hardly said a word to you. This moment was one of my greatest fears. I thought, what would my world have been without you, as I continued to fight back tears? I had to find the courage to tell you just this one time, but lacked the strength to say it. I just felt too weak. Why did I wait until the last moment to say these words to you? But this is my last chance, and I finally was able to speak. Grandma, I am the man I am today because of you. Thank you. I love you.
That day, Bort, that day your wife or your ex-wife was wrong.
Dude, that was very good.
That she was wrong. You should. No, it don't matter if it's her life or the end of her life. Those were good words, and your grandma deserved every one of them.
Nope. And I'm glad you're able to read it on this during this with us here, and she heard them too. So,
Oh yeah.
Well,
no, good job.
Yep, that last line was exactly my last words to her. Grandma, I am the man I am today because of you. Thank you. I love you. And she passed away then that night. I believe we came up that morning, Bob, and then she passed away that night, I believe.
No, I'm glad. Thank you for making me do that trip, by the way, because I remember I was just exhausted. I was like, oh, but you were kind of convinced me to do it, and I'm glad that you did. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm all sad.
When our grandpa passed away too, one of the coolest moments for me was you two standing next to me. That hit me hard. My grandpa and I were very close, but when they asked me to talk, I was like, no, you two too. So standing next to me, but yeah, grandparents, they're awesome.
Yes, they are.
I remember, me, Bort, and Tippy's grandma that we were just talking about, she was like one of the kindest, gentlest souls in the world. I remember back in the Sunday school days, I don't know if you guys remember this. You remember that kickball game we played on that field right across the street from the church? You guys remember that? We were young, really young.
Oh.
So grandma was up to hit the kick. You know, and at this time she's probably 60, 65 years old. She was pretty spry, pretty good athlete for her. And this girl, she's probably 5 years old. She was the pitcher, and she rolled it, and grandma kicked that thing so hard it nailed her right in the face. Pow! And it flopped right backwards. Oh, grandma felt so bad.
Well, I mean, she was still bowling, damn near into her 70s,
Yep.
Well,
chucking the ball halfway down the lane before it hit the lane, too.
Didn't our grandpa, before he died, like a month before, didn't he bowl like a 200 something, like a super crazy high score? I thought somebody mentioned that too, because they were big bowlers. And I thought he bowled like a really big. Oh, he died a month before. He bowled this huge thing. So I thought that was something, but maybe I'm misthinking.
I just don't recall it. You're probably right, Bob.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what? What did you say?
I don't recall.
Yep. And then yeah, a lot of remember a lot of animals buried in the woods back there too, because when we moved into when me and Bort moved to the cities, we had a dog that we couldn't keep. So then our dog ended up staying with our grandma, and they had this other dog named Willie. And I remember when Willie ended up dying. What kind of dog was Willie?
He was kind of like a collie type of dog, but he was a mix. It was long-haired. He's like black, white, and like golden-haired, all mixed. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I remember when our dog,
like some collie shepherd type of dog. Yeah.
Well, when our dog moved in, they took her for a while. Willie had a nice doghouse, and our dog went and stole Willie's doghouse, so Grandpa had to build a little lean-to next to it so Willie had somewhere to go.
Do you guys remember the old Warba Village Hall?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you? It stood where that new abomination is they got now. But it was an old, really cool building. You walk in the front door and you could go downstairs, and they were old concrete stairs, and they were like short and really steep, and that's where the bathrooms were down there. And then you walk up like a short flight of stairs, and you turn to your left, and it was just this big dance hall with a stage up there on the right, and then like this old probably wasn't tongue and groove, but that old lattice floor, and then there was a kitchen back there. I remember hauling tons of food back there. Our grandma was big into that, helping out in there and stuff. So I remember going in there hauling food and stuff when I was younger. But
then then the old Legion building too. Oh, we did a lot of stuff there.
A lot, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep. So Legion was an old camps. It's still there. It's like a community center and camping place. We had a lot of family reunions there, and on both sides. And I think
Had one there 3 weeks ago.
they did at the. I thought they did at the campground.
It was at the Legion.
Yeah,
Oh, was it?
It's still a campground. Yeah, I camped there the
Exactly
last
the same.
time, summer of 2016, I think. Even brought my boat up there, went fishing on Shallow Lake, and was fishing off the dock there.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I was telling my girlfriend at the time about how we'd always used to just barrel right down this dock and vault ourselves over the the railing there, doing flips into the water. I remember one time I slipped on the water and just ran right into the.
Yep, sounds about right.
Yep. Remember, yeah, that was the summer of 1999 when we had that there. Yep.
I remember when they first finally built the Shallow Lake store, how much we thought that was going to be a complete game changer. Because Warba had like nothing when it came to convenience stores. You had to go to like Goodland or Grand Rapids. So they built the Warba Shallow Lake store, and we were so excited. It was right down the street from our me, Bort, and Tippy's grandma, like a
like a quarter-mile walk, really.
Yeah, and it was just a couple miles from the other grandparents. We thought, this is great. And it closed down after, like, what, a year?
Maybe a couple years. I mean,
after it was a
we
store,
were always so excited to walk down there, and we could get, like, Deli Max sandwiches for $1. I always like ham and cheese. You always like the chuck wagons, I know, Bob.
And they had a rental place there, too. I remember they had movies we could rent.
Oh, yeah.
But after it was a store, wasn't it a church?
It is a church right now, I believe.
It is a church, okay.
Yep. It is. I mean, I've never seen a car in that parking lot every time I've been there, but it's still got the sign that says church. Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember when it first went in, we're like, oh, this is the best thing ever.
How about the Warba liquor store? Anybody ever had a beer at the Warba liquor store?
Never been there. Is that kind of like a Muni where you can have where it's got like a bar and you can buy booze there, or?
Yeah, it's on sale, off sale, yeah. Or on off sale.
On off sale. Okay, yep.
But no, it's well, that's the thing, you go through Warba now and you blink and you miss it. But if you talk to like, well, even both sides of the family, your moms and dads and aunts and uncles and stuff, Warba they had a bank there one time. In fact, the Warba liquor store.
Yeah, our moms went to that school there, and our aunts and uncles, Yeah.
Yep. In fact, the Warba liquor store back in the day was actually a bank. It was I think it was the First National Bank, and down in the basement, there's still the old safe down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But there was a grocery store. That building just before you get to the liquor store, that big green one down by the river.
Yep.
That was a grocery store back in the day. But yeah, I mean, you talk to your moms, and then the Warba school, you're right. Yeah, Warba was a hopping place.
Oh, yeah. Then all of our families are buried in that cemetery. I mean, it's pretty much occupied by all of our families.
Go through, you drive through the Warba cemetery and you go, oh, I know them. I knew them. I knew them.
I remember, Tippy, I don't know if this story is true. My father tells it. So I find it pretty unbelievable, but he says that one time your mother was dating a dude, and the dude was making fun of professional wrestling to Dad and the other kids that were watching wrestling at the school. And so Dad was like, well, let me show you a move. And apparently he says that he put the kid in the figure 4 leg lock and really hurt the guy's leg. I don't know if it's true. That seems really unbelievable that he was dating your mom and everything, but
so that must have been before 1975. Was the figure four leg lock even a thing around then?
Oh, I think that's been around a long time.
Oh yeah,
It probably is. Yeah.
our grandma on our side was a.
I mean, he's probably talking about some kind of leg lock.
She was an Indian leg wrestling champion.
I heard that.
She was.
Beat anybody.
She would flip guys over with just her leg power.
Boy, nobody does that anymore.
You get arrested.
I know.
Lewd and indecent behavior or something.
Like, let's Indian leg wrestle. What's that mean? All right, first lay down and then put your legs up.
You lay down, like opposite sides. Like your head's here, your head's there. You hook arms, and then you throw your legs back and try to flip the other person over.
Yep.
Last time I did that, I recall, was probably in 2019 in Oklahoma, when I was probably on a Saturday night with my pipeliner buds.
I've done a lot of things in Oklahoma, but I've never leg wrestled.
Yeah, I don't think I ever have.
Beverages too, right?
What?
I said probably a few beverages were consumed prior to the leg wrestling.
Oh yeah.
I would hope so. Funny.
Yeah. Let's see, the Philbin Railroad goes through Warba. Remember that
Wasn't that on Good Morning America before?
Well, no, on the Regis show.
Well, didn't you do Good Morning America?
No.
Doesn't that go like on the north side of Sand Lake?
Yes.
Yes, but it cuts right through Warba then.
Sure. Yep.
Regis Philbin was on the
Regis and
Philbin and Kathy Lee show.
Yeah, I just realized that. Like, wow, I'm just a complete moron right now.
Right now.
Let's
Oh,
see.
there's an airplane crash in Warba. How could we forget that?
I don't know what you're talking
Didn't
about.
know about it.
I don't know much about it. I just remember Grandpa talking about it. You go through Warba and you know 10 goes towards Charlotte Lake, and it's that there's this old peach house right there on the corner. It's tore down now, but between that house and the railroad tracks, there was a field back in there, and there was an airplane crash. I wonder if it's on the interwebs. I'll try to find it.
I remember that house you're talking about.
There was a crash in Warba.
How long ago?
I have no idea. I don't remember. I just remember Grandpa talking about it.
Tippy, are you getting like stalked by bears? You keep looking behind your back.
No, it's coming from the lake there. It's either like geese or swans or cranes or something. Yeah.
That's Bigfoot.
It's not Bigfoot. It's definitely waterfowl of some sort. But
If there's a bear creeping up behind you, we'll tell you.
Just
No.
leave your computer up so we can watch.
Yes, that'll be great views for the podcast.
Even though I'm back in the woods, I'm pretty sure I'm in a good area to avoid bears here.
We had lots of good four-wheeler rides.
Oh yeah.
I got a very awesome picture one time. Bob and Mrs. Bob and I went on a four-wheeler ride. It was on our dad's birthday, and we went on this big loop. And we were looping around, and there was this huge mud puddle right at the very end. And Bob's like, "Oh yeah, I can take this two-wheel drive Honda four-wheeler through this." And he took it into this mud puddle and literally just sunk straight in. About halfway up, and Mrs. Bob didn't want to get muddy. So we had to help her off, and I got a picture of Bob trying to get it out of there. And every time he tries, he just keeps getting it worse. So we end up having to get out of there. We had to leave the four-wheeler in the mud, and he was going to go get Dad to help get it out. But we leave me at the clearing of Stenseth Road there, and just to wait. I'm thinking it's just going to be a couple minutes, no big deal. Well, Bob and Mrs. Bob take off and they are gone forever. I don't know what's going on. I'm just out there in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden I hear some four-wheelers coming behind me, and it's another random group of four-wheelers in the middle of nowhere hauling the Honda four-wheeler out of there with them. And then I go, oh, that's mine, you know. And they proceeded to, of course, they knew my dad because everybody knows my dad in that area. But then they proceeded to lecture me for like a half an hour about leaving the key in a four-wheeler when you're not around. And I'm like, I didn't even get it stuck. It was all Bob's fault. But no, I kept getting lectured and lectured and lectured, and finally they get back there and save the day. Yeah, I was not happy by the end of that.
I'm like, Bort, why did you leave that key in there?
Yeah. We could have stolen. They were like, we could have stolen it if we were less trustworthy people.
Like, steal it. It's worth about $20 now. Yeah, I have another four-wheeler sitting on the side of my shed out there that has the same outcome as that four-wheeler. Buried in the mud and not working right now.
So sad.
I know, but no, we did a lot of four-wheeling there, and I remember at the other place, the other grandma's place. Remember our old uncle? He had a snowmobile there, and he was riding his snowmobile off that hill, that retaining wall in the back. Do you guys remember that?
Talking about Uncle Tom?
Yeah.
Yep. I
That.
was just remembering, it must have been back like 1991, 1992 or something. Asked me if I wanted to go ditch riding one night. I'm like, oh, you're going to take me out of the snowmobile, you know? Yeah, it was just so amazing, you know, because we you know, just went for I don't know how many miles, you know. I'm like sitting in front of him and he's driving. I was just having a blast, you know. So,
yeah.
So same thing. I remember when Uncle Vern would. Did he ever take you guys sled dog racing through the yard there?
No.
We've actually got that on videotape where he brought a sled over and some dogs, and we're going around Grandma and Grandpa's house, you know, like we're sitting on the dog sled and getting rides around the yard.
Well, he did that before, but I wanted to ride, and he hooked me up with the dogs, made me run with the dogs. So that's how close he would let me to the sled. So, well, I remember going over to his house when he has those dogs out. There's so many dogs out front there in his yard, just dogs everywhere.
I'm doing research on this airplane crash. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was trying to call your dad, and of course he didn't answer. I called my mom, and
Uncle Dave know?
What?
Uncle Dave know?
Oh, good thinking. I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, he'd know everything. So, but
There'd be many dead bodies in this airplane crash.
While you figure that out, I'm gonna run over to the outhouse here quick.
Okay. Let's see. Well, they're away, Bob, I can tell you. Let's see here. At one point, there was not a picture of the Warba water tower on the internet.
There was not?
Correct. I was trying to find a copy of it, and it was not in existence at the time. And Andrew and I were arguing about what color the Warba water tower was. And we couldn't get confirmation of it.
Green, isn't it?
It's like a turquoise blue, isn't it?
It's like the tennis court green, isn't it?
I don't know. Can't remember anymore.
Have you been down to the farm at all?
I tried going down, taking the kids down there one time, and the people across the street have a dog who literally attacked my van when we were trying to drive up to it. So I ended up having to turn around.
Okay.
I think even though our grandfather's been dead for 6 years, he's standing over in the corner laughing at me because Uncle Dave has no idea about what I'm talking about, an airplane crash. I could have swore he told me that there was one there, though.
It's probably just going with you.
Our grandpa did that a lot.
Mm-hmm. So, Bob, do you remember? I don't know if this is going to be a Warba story or not. It all matters where it happened. Do you remember the story of when our parents got picked up for armed robbery?
No.
Andrew, do you remember the liquor store they were in front of when it happened?
It was a Warba liquor store,
It
wasn't
was the Warba liquor store. Okay,
From what I know.
That's what I thought too. So I'll tell the story.
Uh-oh. Hang on. Sorry, be right back.
This podcast is like a train wreck.
It's a fun one, though.
So this was back before I was born, and there was an armed robbery somewhere. And it was a man and a woman that had committed this armed robbery. And Dad and Mom had been motorcycling and wearing those motorcycle helmets. They pulled into, or they stopped motorcycling and drove the car into the Warba liquor store, and they took their helmets off and were like straightening their hair, you know, from the helmets being on. Well, the Itasca County Sheriff saw them in the glass smoothing out their hair, and thought because those robbers were wearing those ski masks, and thought since they were straightening their hair, that meant that they had been wearing ski masks or something like that.
Okay.
And so he had them arrested, and then somehow they had their old Grand Prix. Somehow he took down the license plate, and through confirmation bias went and copied it down wrong to match the license plate of the car that had committed the robbery.
What?
Well, great detective work.
Yeah.
Completely running on assumptions.
Man, I thought I was a bad cop. Jeez.
Yeah, so they got off, as soon as any logic prevailed, and
Did they bring him?
Bob, would you call that police officer incompetent?
Ah, I see what you did there. Ah. Did they get brought into Rapids or not?
I think so.
Oh wow.
I think so, if I remember right. Dad hasn't told me the story in a long time, but yeah, that happened.
Wow. So. We come from a bunch of criminals. Whoa.
Well, the statute of limitations is gone. It was them. No.
Well, Bob, didn't you get brought home by the police one time for you and your buddies were sledding and you decided to take down some orange snow fence?
No, there was well, it was a fence, but it was a wooden one, and it was around a new playground.
Yeah.
And all I did, there was the wooden pill. I grabbed the very top and I broke a piece off like that big. My buddy was beating it with the other, and then a squad was driving by and saw us and brought us home. And I thought I was terrified my stepdad was going to kill me, like literally end my life. He was so cool about it. He goes, it happens. My mom was about to kill me. But my stepdad was like, whatever, it happens. And I'm Bobby! So, but I was like 10 when that happened. So.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Just wanted to go sledding. Need more.
My buddy Jeff, he was just beating on it, and then the squad drives by. And... Terrible.
Let's see.
Vandalous rapscallions here.
What was that, Bort?
You ever play any baseball games at the Warba baseball field?
I don't think the only ones I went to there, I think you played games there, right?
I played there, yeah. I
don't think I ever
mosquitoes there.
The last game I remember seeing there was that Warba Centennial one, where they had that old hardball game with all the guys out there. That was fun watching.
Okay, I wasn't up for that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I remember it was cool. Terry was playing right field. It was so cool seeing him out there hit a fly. We'd run over and grab it.
Nice.
Yeah, no, Warba is a very it's one of those things that's just it's so small, nobody ever even really knows about it. But I think it's just so cool how much we are intertwined with it. And yeah, hopefully people watching this will be able to reminisce about some memories too, because I think the only people that really listen are close families. So hopefully they'll have some good reminiscing too. Doodoo, you were raising your hand.
This just in. I got a phone call from our aunt, and around the late 60s, there was an airplane crash in Warba. It was just one local Grand Rapids guy in an airplane crashed into that field there between that old house and the railroad tracks, killed himself. Our aunt went to school with him, the one that called me. So
he killed. Was it an intentional crash, a suicide thing, or?
No, he just
Highly doubtful.
just didn't. I don't know. I wasn't there, but he is something about he got something wrong and crashed and then in that area too. I remember Grandpa saying something about there was a train derailment there too. Right at that corner, but
Yeah. Warba kind of sucks.
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah.
but yeah, there.
Cool. Well, the only thing I remember, that big microwave tower that's in that same field where that house is.
Best phone reception ever. You go to Warba, Minnesota.
Well, I remember Dad said that guy got like $3,200 a month just to have that in his property. I'm like, oh, I'll go buy some cheap property and throw a microwave tower on there. Pay me for that.
Well, if you know anything about right-of-ways, like right along the south side of Highway 2 goes the Enbridge pipelines.
Mm-hmm.
There's several pipelines that go through there, and any landowner, they have to pay you to, go and do work on your property. That includes new construction, maintenance, because I mean this is like right in my wheelhouse here,
Mm-hmm.
Because I've directly dealt with, land agents and property owners before, and
Mm-hmm.
Depending on your negotiation skills, you can get some pretty good money if a utility goes, or a transportation utility goes through your property, like i.e. Pipeline, power lines, etc.
So, do you have to do that a lot? Like, be in charge of negotiations with homeowners?
No, I don't. That's usually because I'm on the contractor side. I'm not on the company side, which would be Enbridge. That's a transportation company. Or pipeline companies, or any like Minnesota Power. That's a transportation company.
Did you ever work on the pipeline up there?
Not in that area.
Okay.
Just in Minnesota, I've worked like on Bemidji and north of there, pretty much.
Okay. Dude, did you ever make any deliveries in Warba when you were driving?
No, I drove through it a lot.
Okay.
Another story, I guess. I went up there for the weekend, and sounds like somebody's got a snake by their feet.
That's the bugs coming out. It's getting dark here now. I'm like 2 states east of you guys.
I came up for the week. I was loading Polaris Rangers and Rozos, so I had the weekend off, and I drove the truck up. And my mother was already up here, and I parked the truck in Swan River, got a ride to Grandma and Grandpa's house, and then we were gonna go somewhere, I think, and I wasn't feeling right about leaving it in Swan River, so Grandpa said, "Bring it down. You just drive around the house when you want to leave." Well, I went and got the semi and a 53-foot trailer, got it in his driveway, And I forgot that his yard went like this, and I had 350 gallons of fuel on there that I didn't want the ground to break a hole in the tank, so I had to, back it out and finagle it around their driveway, and I backed it into the field across from the grandparents' house, and our grandfather was not appreciative of that. You remember that, guys?
I haven't seen him that worked up. He was so concerned about backing into that field.
Yep. And how their neighbor was going to feel about it. Just tire marks. But
I know.
Yeah.
It's like, let's go talk to the neighbor. Be like, do you mind? But he wanted nothing to do with any of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He didn't like that at all.
Yeah. Funny.
Yeah.
All right, well, we should probably start wrapping up. It looks like Tippy's getting chomped on by some bugs, and it's getting a little dark out there.
Yeah, the first mosquito just started going in my ears.
Wait, there's a bear right there.
What's that?
There's a bear right there.
No, there isn't. That's just the tent.
Speaking of bears, last week on the 4 roads out of Warba, we battled a couple of demon bears thanks to Bob deciding to try to murder mom feeding her cubs. And that was quite an adventure in D&D with Doodoo. And you'll be happy to know that next week, it will return. Part 4 of D&D with Doodoo.
Not the bears, though, because these 3 expertly dispatched them.
Well, those 2 and me.
Yeah, you were the meat shield.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much expert on what I did.
Yeah, but I'll get together a good continuation of your guys' adventure and see what other escapades you guys can get into.
Well, I look forward to it. Those are fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I've been having such a blast with this.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks there, Bort. This is a good time tonight, just talking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry for my internet, but
Yeah, it's all good.
it worked out better once I got on the computer here. So,
I mean,
Yeah.
you're absolutely flawless on the computer, Bob.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just going to stand here.
Yep.
I'm not going to move till next week. So,
Just stay right there. Don't move. We'll call
I'm
you.
retired. I'm retired. I can now. So, I'm not moving.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. And signing off is, let's see here. We'll use the tag team names from our. We'll use the worst member of the tag team to represent each of us. So signing off is Jim the Anvil Neidhart. And let's see who's worse, Animal or Hawk.
Oh, I'd say Hawk.
Hawk. Okay, we'll use Hawk. And then we've got Crush. Bob.
I think the first axe, because there used to be an axe before the actual axe. So
Yeah.
he was pretty bad.
Axe could cut some good promos, but my favorite part about Demolition, I mean, OSW review put it perfectly. Like their promos are like, we're gonna bash you, then we're gonna smash you, then we're gonna drive you off a cliff, and then we're gonna go to Denny's. And
And finally, Marty Jannetty, who threw himself through the barbershop window.
oh my goodness.
All right, well, thank you. It's a good time.
It's fun just talking and not, having to plan stuff. It was fun just talking.
Yep.
Yep.
So thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, all of our listener. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.